Jackie, come on up. 30 years in the business. By the way, she's the executive director and all that, so I didn't say that, but I'm sure you guys know, so Jackie, go
Okay,
ahead.
what works and what doesn't?
That
Okay,
one does.
This one works. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I am so excited to have everybody back in person. I'm a little bit of an extrovert. I know that's going to surprise all of you who know me. So last year was really tough, and I hated being behind the camera, or, the screen. Anyway, so I'm super excited to have us all back in person tonight. Excuse me, since we've all been together 2 years ago, so much has happened. So much has happened in our world, so much has happened in our smaller communities, and so much has happened at Open Arms that I want to tell you a little bit about tonight. While the world as a whole seems to have worked really hard at segregating and dividing over the past couple of years, we at Open Arms are so proud of the fact that we have continued work to bring people together. We have continued to work to bring families and children together every single day. While 2020 brought a lot of challenges to everybody and every industry, including adoption, I just could not be more proud of the growth that this agency has experienced in the past 2 years and of the staff that we have coming to work every day on behalf of kids and families. So let's look at a little bit of what's happened with Open Arms in the last 2 years. And I have to tell you, when I sat here to write this all down, I got a little tired just thinking back about all of it. So our staff has grown from 7 employees 2 years ago to 18 sitting here tonight. That's super exciting. We moved to a beautiful new office in downtown Kent, and we are super excited to be there. And our client base has increased by more than 250%. What's most important, though, is that we have placed more children in the last 18 months than in the past 3.5 years combined. What that really means is that 11 sibling groups, 29 kids that were separated from their brothers and sisters in foster care, found homes to finish growing up in together. 13 other children who were in foster care got released from foster care and found their forever families. That's a great one. And that 21 of our families were able to achieve their dream of becoming parents by adopting infants in the last 18 months. My personal passion that anyone who's ever met me or ever, look, people are laughing out loud, like out loud. Michelle, you want to tell them? Sibling groups, yes. I think I've met her once. Anyway, my personal passion and one of the key initiatives here at Open Arms continues to be placing brothers and sisters together in their permanent homes, especially when they were separated from foster care. So here's one of my favorite all-time sibling group stories. See, this is Trinity and Alexis. And Trinity and Alexis are cousins. And they are cousins that have lived together since they were infants. They lived together with their grandma because neither of their moms were able to take care of them. They both had their own problems, so they lived with their grandma from the time they were teeny tiny babies. And then when their grandma's health problems became too much for her to continue to care for them, they had to go into the foster care system. Luckily, they went into the same foster home, and although they bounced around a little, as by the way all kids do in foster care, they were able to stay together their whole lives until the state determined that they couldn't be reunited with any family. And they decided that Trinity and Alexis needed to be adopted, but they weren't sisters. They were cousins. So the state's plan was to find 2 homes, one for Trinity and one for Alexis. And I could not be more proud of the advocacy and the work that was done by this agency to convince the state that Trinity and Alexis are sisters and that they deserved to be in the same home, to continue growing up together. And so today, Ginger, if you want to show the next slide, Trinity and Alexis not only are real sisters, they're legally sisters too. So March of 2020, that was a fun year, a fun time. What that started, though, in the world of adoption between March of 2020 and last week is that 4 adoption agencies in the state of Ohio have closed their doors. 4. We have been really proud of our efforts to help families through that horribly stressful transition process when they found out that the organization that was supposed to make them a family was closing their doors with no warning. Aside from our ability to help those families, we quickly realized last March that many birth moms who had placed their babies for adoption voluntarily were about to lose the only way they had to communicate with those children, because the agency that was closing was doing all of that communication back and forth through the agency. So after a quick poll of the staff about how much work we were willing to do to continue that, we were able to continue seamlessly that communication between moms and the babies that they were separated from through adoption years ago. Thanks. So earlier this year, I promise I won't get done eventually, but there's just too much. Earlier this year, the only agency in Ohio, and actually one of the only agencies in the United States that focused solely on working with infants with complex medical needs, closed their doors suddenly. Now, it had been a secret goal of ours, and when I say ours, I mean mine. It had been, yep, there they are. It had been a secret goal of mine for quite a while to start a program for kiddos with complex medical needs. So 3 to 5 years turned into 3 to 5 months. And we actually just launched a new program to find and train families to provide permanent homes for kiddos with complex medical needs. These are our 2 medical special needs babies, our first 2. Tristan on the left was born with Down syndrome and had open heart surgery 6 days into his little tiny life. And we were able to provide him with a permanent family on day 1. Little Daisy on the right spent her first 3 months of her life in the NICU all by herself before someone called us. But she's never going to spend another night alone again because her parents think the sun and the moon revolve around that little girl. Okay, so Ginger's put up with a lot from me over the past few weeks. So we were done. I was done with my speech. I was done with the slideshow. But then Doreen, where are you, Doreen? Somewhere. There is Doreen. Okay, so this is Larry. Larry's 15. And we placed Larry in his adoptive home a week and a half ago. And Doreen comes, yeah, that's good enough, right? So Doreen comes bouncing into the office after meeting Larry for the first time and said, oh my gosh, Jackie, I have to tell you all about him and everything he said and everything he did. So Larry has lived apart from his mom and siblings since he was 4. He was with a relative for a while, but for the past 4 years, he's been in about 6 or 7 different foster homes. And a week and a half ago, Larry went to his permanent family, and Doreen just goes in and kind of, you know, the general social work term or social work intro. So tell me, how's it going? And she says, Larry just stuck his hand on his hip and said, you know what, Miss Doreen, I think I won the lottery. I have 2 people that I can call mom and dad. Look at this, Miss Doreen, I have my own bedroom. I have never had my own bedroom in my life. This is my bed. This is my bed, my own bed. And for the first time ever, Larry was allowed to try out for the basketball team. By the way, he made it. And he joined the marching band. So for the first time ever, Larry has his own family, his own bedroom, his own bed, and he gets to do what all 15-year-olds do. So I could not include Larry. Anyway, that's a lot. That's just a snapshot of our highlights over the past 2 years. I, from the bottom of my heart, cannot thank you enough for your support tonight and throughout the lifetime of Open Arms. It is because of your generosity that we're able to keep bringing brothers and sisters back together. It's because of your generosity that we're going to be able to find families for more kiddos like Tristan and Daisy. We're going to be able to launch that to the sky and fill that gap that was left. Oh, look, I lost my place. Okay, but I'm almost done. Anyway, I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize some other people without whom none of this would be possible. So if you're on my board, could you please stand and be recognized? And I mean, they're great and all. Like, love you guys, but who I really want you to recognize is the best team that any director's ever had, who go to work every day to do what is best for kids. So if you are on the staff at Open Arms, please stand up.